Hello anybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deeb, and in the last episode we did 2 levels of Rock Star, and in today's episode we're going to be finishing it up, starting with this level right here. So in the last episode I showed off the skate power-up that it was nice, but I think we've kind of shown it off as much as we need to. And there's a witch in the background you can't eat. And of course, I'm ignoring the big elephant in the room. Is on Rockstar, there's this giant cube rhombus thing that's just sitting in the middle of the desert. And I gotta say, this is one thing that Kirby 64 does pretty well, is big set pieces that kind of go around in the background, in which you can kind of get to. And because it's on a 2.5, it's a 2.5D game that does it well, I think, because we're not just moving in one direction per se, we're moving along a trail that curves toward the thing in the background, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, it gives a cinematic feel to things without having to reduce itself to 30 frames per... Actually, how fast is this running? I don't even know. I can't tell just based off my eyesight, although I wouldn't expect an N64 game to be running at 30 frames per second, but I don't know. I don't know. Technical talk is... I don't understand it. So that platform is very inviting, but we're going to jump over it, because over here we have one little star. Kirby 64 likes to make one little star into its big secrets, and that's just silly. But we've got what we wanted, and of course, because Kirby has no fear whatsoever, he's just going to go into this giant alien building thing. I don't even know where to begin on this thing. Trivia about this level: immediately, if you played Kirby's Dream Land 3, this level from the get-go is a callback to one of the later levels in that game. Pretty much in the entire aesthetic design and just the whole giant alien spaceship kind of thing. I don't know if this is an alien spaceship, by the way, that's just the vibe you get, is that this was an ancient alien ship buried in the desert. Kind of like how the pyramids were made by aliens. Well, you didn't know? You should go watch the History Channel, you'll learn all about it. Can't believe I just made a History Channel joke. But I digress. Our first crystal shard is of course right in sight, and that's pretty easy to get, and no. You gotta be careful here though, because it is possible to get crushed between these things as they move, and it's surprisingly easy to do that. So these enemies are electricity, and you combine bombs with electricity. It's not as exciting as you think it might be. With bombs and electricity, we become a light bulb. This is in the range of Kirby abilities that turns Kirby into a weapon, and when you hold down the button for long enough, the bulb breaks and the glass hurts enemies. But the reason we're getting it is because in this room, Adeline has drawn some pictures, but we can't see them without some light. She's drawn a moon, a cloud, and a star, and that's very nice, Adeline, but it's not necessarily clear what you need to do with this information. A cloud, a moon, and a star. So the moon, a cloud, and a star. So you actually have to press down on these buttons. And that's not necessarily very clear, because this is like the only room in the game where you do this. But you hit all those buttons in the right... I'm not sure if it's in the right order or not you have to do it. You might have to. But you do that, you get yourself a crystal shard, and that's nice. And just continue to walk around like a light bulb. The range of effect for the exploding glass is actually a little bigger than what it looks like. Now this room seems, this trippy room filled with cubes and moving platforms that's really trippy and really surreal. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier episodes, how there are some things in the Dark Matter trilogy games that feel a little more surreal than other Kirby games. This is kind of one of those examples. This is like something from minimalism, the art movement, or Dadaism, or one of them. It's been a long time since I've taken art, you tell me. There are no secrets in that room, no matter how big it is. It looks big, but it's really not that big of a secret. And this isn't one of the best abilities to have here, so this is actually, I think it might be the first mini-boss that actually actively attacks you back. He actually shoots at you, unlike the other mini-bosses up to now, who have just sicked their minions on you while just kind of sitting there. How quaint. And that gets us all of the abilities... Not all the abilities, all the crystal shards in this level, which brings us to this chamber with these smiling bolts of electricity. Everything is smiling. And ice cream. Just ice cream. Sitting in this ancient alien technology. What's the deal with video games? And of course, Kirby has been through a lot going through this big ship, so we're gonna have a picnic. Another picnic. And we get ourselves some cake, and I like how when you do get a food item, you actually get to see Kirby eat it. And he, of course, eats it in one big bite because he's a glutton. But I digress, it is time for the boss of Rockstar, now that we've gotten through all that. And that wasn't just a set piece, that wasn't just a level for the sake of being a weird alien level, because now the boss of this level takes place on the top of this level, on this elevator. We are fighting Pix, if he'll show up. Pix is this weird little cube thing that moves around, and it moves around in a pattern like that, and I'm going to throw my ability, and as you can see, it doesn't do anything. That's because for the first several seconds of this boss fight, it is just all about dodging as this elevator ascends. You might also notice that, again, like Wispy Woods, this boss fight takes place on a ring that you can run circles around, and this is a design that they like for bosses, except I think that this is only really part of this boss fight in Wispy Woods, and none of the other boss fights are like this. I think. And I'm pretty sure, actually. So yeah, we're nearing the top as the skies of Rockstar are coming into view, and we only have 3 of these to avoid. They're not difficult to avoid at all. In fact, the best advice I can give here is to move in the direction they're moving, and then jumping over them or whatever. It's not that tough. So here we come to the second phase of the fight, that is the actual phase of the fight. Wispy Woods was a 2-phase fight where you had to damage him, but in this fight, there's the dodging phase and then the actual attack phase. Now what you want to do here is absorb these little particles, molecules, and then shoot them at the thing, at the picks of the corresponding color. And this will do the most damage. If you don't hit the corresponding color, it'll do very minimal damage. And I think actually copy abilities don't do a lot of damage to these guys, but I could be wrong. And we want to hit the blue one. I think some of these guys are more difficult to avoid than others. Like the green one you don't even have to jump over or time. You just have to stay under him. So that takes care of the blue one, but it is going to keep attacking us because the blue and the red, even though they are out of commission, they can still attack because the green one is still alive. So they will continue to... Oh wait, no, the blue and the red ones can't attack. It's only the green one. And the green one's going nuts because it's the only one left, but it's for moot. I said it's for moot. And we gotta wait for them to come back. And this is actually one ability we didn't get to see, is where they just fly around in a circle and chase you. But this is really easy to avoid if there's only one left, because you can just jump through the transparent ones. But that's probably the toughest move they do. And we're just waiting for an opportunity to shoot them. They're also really hard to shoot when they do that. Yeah, if you shoot them with the wrong color, it only does like 3 points of damage for that big points of 30 bars down there. And you defeat them, and now they fuse together, and they explode into the crystal shard. The big crystal shard that bosses give you. We get that, and Kirby's happy. One thing that's kind of disappointing is that Kirby doesn't dance in this game. He just says hi. And cutscene. No, the cake! Oh, now that cake's gone to waste and it's just gonna sit in that desert. Now I'm sad. I want cake now. But as you can see, after beating Rockstar, we unlock Aqua Star. So, as you can see, the third world of this game is a water world. Taking your notes a little too closely from Mario, if I gotta say, quite frankly, Kirby. So I haven't actually gotten this far on my practice file yet, but this episode would be really short if I didn't do another level, so I'm just gonna hop right in. Thankfully, the nice thing about Kirby games is they're generally not that hard to get the secrets in. So now we're on the beach, as is standard. I think these guys are rock. Yes, these little volcano dudes are rock, in fact. So we're gonna start out with rock and get moving. Onward ho. If you combine rock with rock, you get giant golem Kirby, and I love this. This is hilarious. It's fantastic. Of course, the problem with golem Kirby is that he can't jump. However, it is nice just to be able to just roll in here and crush everything. And murder everything in your path. And roll down a hill because you're too heavy. So we're just gonna keep stomping on our way because why not? I mean, that's the nice thing about the golem ability. If you just have a long stretch of land, you can just walk and just stomp forward and not have to worry about anything. And it's just beautiful simplicity in this attack. And that's kind of the theme of a lot of the power-ups in this game, is just simplicity, and it's nice. I think there might be a crystal shard down here. I need to check. And I don't think there actually is one. However, there is a Maxim tomato that we're gonna eat. And there we go. Funny story about Maxim tomatoes, they don't heal you all the way in Super Smash Bros. They only heal 50%, and I think they've officially stated that the Maxim tomatoes in Smash Bros. Are just a weaker breed, and I find it funny that they actually made a detail out of that. It's cute. Crab! Now here we have a new mechanic in the game, these little green bubbles that are just, they're kind of gross. But you jump in them because Kirby is very brave and very bold and has much more courage than I ever would. You jump on that, and Kirby fires himself out. However, as we saw down here, there is a crystal shard that we want to get, and also there's a maraca dude in the background, just hanging out. Just hanging out, shaking his maracas. You can't kill him. I've tried. You can't kill any of the background enemies unless they come into the foreground, but then you only have a very limited opportunity, very limited window of actually doing it. Now, even though there's a giant space over here and it's tempting to check it out, you shouldn't, because there's nothing over there. I did because I didn't practice this level yet, because I'm just not that far yet on my practice file, but I digress. Now we're going to get rid of our rock ability because I want to combine it. I want to use a little more ice because I haven't used much ice. You combine ice with rock. Well, what do we know about rocks in cold places is curling. Yes, you become a curling stone. This is very silly. This is very silly indeed. However, it is another effective ability. Rock abilities like to go in the... And I got eaten by a frog. Not a nice fate. Rock abilities tend to go in the realm of... Actually, rocks are pretty well divided on whether they're projectiles or just abilities that turn Kirby into a thing. The main thing is that you start off moving fast and then you just gradually slow down, like a real curling brick. Curling is actually, I think it's the second official sport of Canada. Not that we ever say it. Also, I'm Canadian. Not that that really matters. Yay, I'm Canadian. Whoop-de-doo. I don't know why that just killed the conversation, it just did. And of course, everything you hit while you're in this form freezes it, so if you want to go back and hit these blocks forward, you can. I don't know why you would, though, is the thing. That's the thing about it, is you can hit the knock blocks forward, so freezing things is just kind of a cosmetic thing. Now, down here, we have an ice dude, or not an ice dude, a very mean dude, if anything. And this is a needle dude. If you try to jump over this dude, he won't attack you. So this is just another minion that he doesn't do anything. He just has his minions attack you, and you can just very easily kill him by standing underneath him, and then that does the job. Adeline is very nice, and she paints her satanic fruit for us that comes to life and gives us powers. Now, a new ability that we're gonna get right now, I think it's time for awful. That's what I am. So we're just gonna go back to throwing Kirby's face forward. That is just fine. And actually, come to think of it, I think we need a certain ability for down here. That is Bomb and Ice. Well, now we gotta look for Bomb and Ice. I'll be back when I find them. So it turns out the door back was locked, and that's annoying. So, I'm gonna just keep going forward, I guess, because, well, there's not much else I can do at this point. This area is dangerous, so you want to be careful and go up here. I'm just gonna keep pressing forward, and if I don't get Ice and Bomb before the end of the level, which I'm not likely to get, then I'll just come back when I do find them and get them, so I can go down there and use Ice and Bomb to get it. take this time to imagine what kind of power-up you get by combining ice or snow and other things. I'm not going to be getting a new power-up just here because we're very close to the end of the level, actually, and I don't want to waste the time waste the opportunity to show off a new power-up. So, yeah. We're just gonna run through the end of this level, gonna run all the way through, and gonna get ourselves a card. Yep. And I'll be back with Ice and Bomb. Just as soon as they draw the next level, which we're not going to. I will be back. So just gonna show off this new power-up that we just got. You turn into a snowman and you walk, and as soon as you walk into an enemy, you explode. That's silly, and it does a wide area of damage directly above you. How ridiculous. And here we can show off how this works against the boss, the mini-boss that is. Kind of have to wait a little bit though. But you can make it faster by walking into enemies, maybe. But anyway, yeah. The damage that explodes above you does a lot of damage above you and around you. Enemies around you are instantly vaporized. Normally, enemies that are above you that are hit by the snowfall will, like the snow that bursts out of you, will then freeze them, which you can then kick forward, and that's interesting. Also, I think I figured it out, another thing about the power-ups between the Dark Matter Trilogy games and this game. It feels a little more esoteric, like they get a little more out there with the power-ups in the Dark Matter Trilogy games, like throwing your face forward for Cutter, whereas for other Kirby games, you throw a blade from a hat. But I digress. That is that crystal shard, and we got that. We blew through the ceiling, we got what we wanted, and now we're just gonna finish up this level again, because why not? Because we may as well, it's only a few feet, and this is about time to wrap up the episode anyway, so let's get ourselves another one of these cards or miss horribly, and Kirby's crying. So this whole endeavor was not entirely pointless because we did get ourselves our crystal shard. Anyway, I think that'll be enough for today's episode. We finished up Rockstar, we did the first level of Aqua Star, and in the next episode we're going to be continuing on. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye to you, and I'm Mr. Devious or Just Deep, and I hope to see somebody in the next one. Bye-bye!